Hello, this is Mamta Jaya. Let's talk about the retirement plan. You may be thinking that this discussion is only about the retirees, right? No, it is about all those people who are working and hustling to get that hard earned income home. Now, when Chandrayaan 2 crash landed in 2019 on Moon, the scientists had just one mission, that was to fix it, which they did it in the year 2023 by soft landing. But hey, not everybody gets this kind of a second chance. Everyone is going to retire one day or the other. So it's time to sort out your retirement plan so that your post retirement becomes more smoother. As we age, we face number of risks. One of the risks is the lifespan risk, that is outliving your corpus. Back in 1935, the life expectancy was 35. As we speak today in 2023, it is 70. And in 2060, it will hit 75. Investor Media did a survey where they found that the Gen Z would like to retire as early as 57, while Gen X would like to retire at the age of 65. That means the Gen Z would be having a longer retirement period. That means more uncertainty. Over and above that, is understood that they will be very picky about the work that they do. They would prefer joy over earnings. So life expectancy is rising, retirement is stretching. Early retirement concludes one thing, that you cannot ignore the lifespan risk. Let's move on to the next risk, which is a lifestyle risk. Lifestyle risk is giving up on your goals and the needs. There are certain few questions that you should be asking yourself about the lifestyle risk. One is that what is the lifestyle that you would like to live after your retirement? Will I be staying independently or with my family? I will be sitting in which city? My household expenses, the day to day expenses, housing costs, which includes the rent, the mortgage, the utility bills like the electricity, the gas, the phone bills, etc. Third risk is the health and the life risk, which is the unexpected hospital bills, illness, or the death. To mitigate these three risks, which is the lifespan risk, the lifestyle risk, the life and health risk, one has to make a retirement plan. This will bring about the financial stability and independence. Now, when we should start investing? We should start investing as soon as we start working or as early as possible. However, there are certain behavioral patterns that we are glued to. Your long-term goal that are a bit fuzzy and lacks clarity gets pushed back. So all the decisions about the retirement gets pushed to the future stage. So meeting the short-term goals, which is clear, and pushing out the long-term goals because it is unclear, is a common human tendency. And this tendency is seen across all the levels of income, the education, and the profession. Unfortunately, this leads to overspending and getting into more debt. Another behavior that we all are glued onto, which is focusing on the happy goal. It's all about chasing the happy goal that brings us joy. For example, a house, education, marriage, giving gift, and travel. But when it comes to the unhappy goals, we feel awkward. We feel uncomfortable to talk about it. For example, the retirement plan, drafting a will, or talking about the death. Of course, we are all wired to prefer the sunshine over the storm. But you should remember that we are all headed to the same destination. But the journey that we choose makes all the differences. Do not dodge away from those unhappy goals. They are part of the ride. Embrace it and make the journey count. Back to the question, when should you start investing? Well, you should start investing as soon as possible, as soon as you start working. But that's the ideal scenario because that's not normally how it goes. At the age of 30, you're busy repaying your car loan, your home loan, etc. By the time you hit your 40, you become very conscious about the lesser number of the income years. So it's at that point of time, it's a high time that you should start saving and investing for your retirement. Now, there are various factors factors that one must consider while planning for the retirement corpus. One is the retirement expenses. The second is the most important and most ignored, adjusting those retirement expenses with inflation. Third, the expected return. And four is a life expectancy. So, to avoid running out of money in retirement, one should follow the conservatism approach. So, this term is being borrowed from the accounting principle, which says that one should follow the worst case scenario. It's better to be safe than sorry. So when you look into those factors which is required to build up your retirement corpus and add the conservatism approach, the factors that we should be considering in calculating your retirement corpus is one, higher retirement expenses. Second, higher inflation rate. Third is a lower expected returns. And fourth is higher life expectancy. Now, why are we talking about all those risks, which is the lifestyle risk, the lifespan risk, life expectancy risk? Why are we talking about the various factors that needs to be considered to calculate the retirement corpus? Why are we doing all this? Because it's important that we need to be roughly right rather than precisely wrong. How much should be the retirement expenses one should be looking at? Well, add all your lifestyle expenses to the health cost. Understand that 12 to 14% of your expenses will be your healthcare expenses after your retirement. 14% is the inflation of the healthcare cost. If you need to give back to the society and the philanthropy activity or gifting, add that as well as your retirement expenses. As we are talking about the precisely wrong and roughly right, if we add those lifestyle expenses, the health costs, and all those philanthropy activity, and hope that this expense will cover your retirement expense, you are precisely wrong. However, if this figure you adjust to the inflation and get the future value, you will be roughly right. This leads to another question: what is the inflation rate that you should consider? The inflation is something that erodes the saving over a period of time. You should know that your expense is different from others. Your expense as a household, as a family unit, will be different from the other family unit and the other household. And that's the reason your inflation would be different from others or from the general economy. As we are talking about the precisely right and roughly wrong, if we break down the expenses into the various items and estimate the future based on the past trend, will be precisely wrong, because your spending style will change over time. For example, you may no longer go for a pubbing or clubbing. You may not have those extravaganza expenses on the various branded clothes that you would be wearing. You never know. So, what should be roughly right? Well, Central Bank, which is a Reserve Bank of India, has a targeted inflation rate between 2% and 6%. So it is advisable for us to take the inflation rate as 7% as a worst case scenario in the calculation of our retirement corpus. So, how much is the expected return one should consider while calculating your retirement corpus? Since we are talking something about the precisely wrong and roughly right, if the expected return is based on the past trend and predict the future, it is pointless. Now consider your investment allocation, say 50% in equity and 50% in debt. Equity giving you 12% return and debt giving you 8% return. The average would be around 10%. It will be very difficult for you to hold 50% of equity allocation for your whole life, because as you age, your risk appetite it reduces. So your equity allocation will be reduced to that extent. So getting the 12% return may not be achievable. Also, if you look into the economy, it goes through upsides and the downsides. There is a probability that in future, in the downturn, both equity and debt will not perform. In that scenario, getting the 10% of performance rate of return may not be achievable. Hence, it would be precisely wrong if you consider your expected rate of return as 10%.
but it would be roughly right if you consider it around 9%. So, what is the life expectancy that you'll consider while calculating your retirement corpus? Again, it is advisable not to rely on the past trends. We have already spoken about the life expectancy. In the year 1970-75, it was 49 years. Today, it is 70 years. In the year 2060, it will be 75 years. So, relying the data from your past and considering 70 or 75 years for calculating your retirement corpus would be precisely wrong. However, it would be roughly right if you consider the life expectancy of something around 85 years or above. So let us plan a retirement plan on the basis of conservatism approach with a margin of safety, because one cannot predict the life expectancy, the inflation, and the expected returns. There are many mistakes that people make while building up their retirement corpus. One of them is that many people they forget about the money sitting in their workplace retirement account while they leave their job. Big mistake. Don't forget about it. Another mistake, retiring with a loan. Those hefty credit card balances, the house loans, the car loans, this is going to drain away your retirement corpus, take away the money from your emergency funds. Before retiring, clear out all these loans. And it goes without saying that don't go for any loan during the fag end of your retirement or after that retirement. Another mistake, poor investment planning. Haphazard investment, too concentrated portfolio, or too diversified portfolio, too little risk or too much of risk. Stay balanced. Another big mistake, poor tax planning. There's so many facilities available for you to save on your tax. Why wouldn't you utilize that? Invest in your provident fund, invest in equity linked savings schemes, invest in national pension scheme. Don't go lazy when it comes to saving on your tax. Another point that I would like to discuss is about retiring too soon. So, this is not a mistake because each to his own, but you have heard a lot of people talking about retiring early. But I believe that if you can keep yourself active, mentally agile, and physically active for a long period of time, why should you retire early? Just keep on going. Another mistake, cashing out your retirement prematurely. A big no no. There are two extreme of people. One who are living for today, they are the grand spender. On the other hand, there is an old school of parents who will dig in their retirement funds for the expensive kids' education and their business. Both these people may end up being dependent on the other members of the family. It's a risky road. Stay clear. No matter where you are in your retirement plan, you're bound to make mistakes. It's all about starting early, learning during the journey, making right choices, choosing what is roughly right, avoiding that is precisely wrong, stepping towards a financial freedom and stress free golden era. If you like the content, please do like, subscribe, and share. Signing off, Mamtaja.